Up in the East. Tonight they welcome the second-place Mets and hope to extend their lead in the final 3 meetings between the ball clubs. It's an absolutely gorgeous evening in D.C. for baseball. Mets are here for a 3-game series. They have plenty to play for. So do the Nats, who want to get this division thing over as soon as they can. Right now, they lead New York by a healthy margin. It's a 9-game spread. The Marlins, they're on the fringe of the wild card race. So right now, a 2-team thing in the East. And the Mets definitely have postseason aspirations with that wild card. And they have a great shot at it. They're a half game up for that second wild card spot right now. So FP, kind of a taking care of business homestand so far, and you hope the guys can keep on doing that for the next couple days.
Well, you win 2 out of 3 or more. You put the Mets in your rearview mirror. You win 1, you're right where you started, really, with an 8-game lead. The Mets are playing good. They've won 7 of the last 8. They're 16-5 in their last 21, and they're really swinging it. So a big test for the Nats in the series.
You know, some people may think Matt Latos, who's been around for a long time, is older than 28, but he's going to get a second chance at a starting rotation call here at Nats Park tonight. Maybe a surprise choice for some, but it's Matt, not one of the young bucks on the mound tonight.
Yeah, he gets to give his manager a good look at him, maybe think about him for a playoff roster spot. His last start was on June 9th against, guess who? The Nats, as a Chicago White Sox. So we'll see how he does here tonight. Yeah,
and ironically, his start before that was against the Mets. So here we go again. It's Lato's 3rd game with the Nationals, and Daniel Murphy keeps punishing his former ball club. .397, 7 homers, 21 RBIs. Yeah, he's in the lineup tonight. So are all of his regular buddies. Baseball on Masson, brought to you by PNC Bank. For the achiever in you. And by Dominion, depend on us for more than energy. Yeah, get your caps ready for the playoffs. Matt Latos trying to make a good impression tonight. He's going to do a little dance there with Jock Jones. Okay, the starter and the assistant hitting coach. The Nats take on the Mets, who've won 7 of the last 8. They're 7-3 in September. Gorgeous night here. Sky's pretty clear. 79 degrees at game time. It's starting to feel like September. The Mets are hitting .243, 13th in the league. Dusty's ball club, second best staff ERA in the league, and the fewest errors in the National League. We've got some early game notes for you. So Daniel Murphy, not only against the Mets, but against the entire division, just prolific this year. So look at the slugging percentage and the home runs per games in the East. The Nats in one-run games, one of the best in all of baseball, best in this league. And the Mets have lost 7 of the last 10 against the Nats, but 2 out of 3 they won in New York a week and a half ago. Mets are 13th in runs, second in home runs behind St. Louis, just ahead of Washington. And Yoenis Cespedes is in the middle of all that. He loves this ballpark, evidently. Average, slugging, homers, RBIs, and Cespedes .313 against the Nationals this year. So FP, here's Latos making his 186th big league start.
And like I said in the open, last start was on June 9th against the Nats. He was a member of the White Sox. 10-5 loss. He went 4 1/3, gave up 6 runs to the team he's pitching for right now. So fastball, slider, curveball change split. 5-pitch guy. Fastball averaging 90 miles an hour. Here's your defense tonight behind Matt Latos. Worth, Turner, Harper, your outfield. Espinosa, Rendon, the left side. Murphy, Zimmerman, the right side. And Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
Veteran crew here tonight. Jerry Lane, 28-year veteran, has the plate. Hunter Wendelstedt, 29th year at first base. Lane, the crew chief, by the way. C.B. Buckner, 21st year. Scott Berry, his 11th. Making the calls here at Nationals Park tonight for the opener of a 3-game series. The Nats have won 32 of their last 41 games against the National League East. Terry Collins, I mean, he is the ultimate MASH unit manager this year. Tons of injuries to the pitching staff, keeping things together, and they have as good a shot as anybody at being that wild card. One of those two.
Yeah, half-game lead on the second wild card spot right now.
Jose Reyes, 44th game with the Mets. He's hitting .276. First pitch missing. Right on time. Well, a little bit late here at 7:07. Reyes on base percentage with the Mets of .330.
He scored 15 runs in his last 15 games, so getting the job done at the top of the order big time.
Yeah, and then Asdrubal Cabrera, the former Nat, next, having a monster year. He's on a nice hitting streak. So is Cespedes. And that ball is out of play to the left side, 1-2.
But when you look at this series and the way it shapes up, the scouting report's easy. Keep them in the ballpark. The Mets have hit 13 home runs in their last 6 games and 31 homers in their last 16 games.
And that ball is lashed down the right field line. Reyes probably thinking 3 until Harper stops him. Around the bag he goes, and he will stop. There was a time when Jose Reyes would have been standing up at third on that ball, but he lashes a double, and the Mets are in business here.
It looked like the split. That's the out pitch for Matt Latos. You saw it tumble, and then you also saw Jose Reyes just drop the barrel on it, shoot it down the right field corner. So a leadoff double by the Mets third baseman. That's how this one starts.
Yeah, Reyes sitting over .280 career against the Nationals. Asdrubal Cabrera, 10-game hitting streak, 13 hits. He's hit 4 home runs against the Nats this year. Murphy, short right field.
Yeah, he's locked in right now.
Career high in homers, pardon me, FP, 25, back in 11. Next one will be 20. Hard hit. One hop. Murphy. Nice play to his left. Productive out for Cabrera. So the shift turns a base hit into an out. Reyes at third with Cespedes coming up.
Well, Jose Reyes actually had to hold on that because there was some line drive in it. He had to wait for it to hit. So he got a late break. Watch Reyes at second. He has to wait and see if this hits the ground first. And then he just kind of cruises into third base. Nice at bat by Asdrubal.
Cespedes against the Nats this year, hitting over .310, couple of homers, 3 RBIs. He's on a 7-game hitting streak.
Hit 3 home runs and driven in 10 on the Mets' current road trip. He is locked in, absolutely locked in.
Yeah, so 8 for 29 during his streak. Foul tip on the swing. Counts even.
I challenge him inner half with the heater. Look where Wilson set up. Perfect pitch.
Mercedes-Benz pitch track. And Cespedes will just stroke it out to center field. Trey Turner's got a great arm, but Reyes can still fly. Look at that throw. Pretty impressive. But New York on top. Cespedes RBI number 79.
Get him on, get him over, get him in. Good baseball by the Mets here in the first. So a double by Reyes. Cabrera with the grounder to second. And Yoenis Cespedes with a sac fly. Just reached out and touched it. Didn't even hit it very hard, but it carried.
That man is strong plus. Curtis Granderson now with the bases empty. In the shift again, Rendon alone left side. Ball 1 away. Lifting one to right. Ball's high in the air. It's got some carry to it. Bryce Harper just enough room. How about 345 feet away? New York strikes quickly for a go-ahead run. Tonight, Nats are 7th in the league, hitting in the mid-250s, 4th in runs, 3rd in homers behind St. Louis and New York, and in the top 5 in stolen bases. Bryce Harper heating things up over 300 the last month. RBIs are coming. Bryce is up to 80 now. 19 runs, taking his walks, and he has 98 of those. So pretty much the regular 8 in there tonight against 25-year-old Rafael Montero.
Yeah, no decisions last start on the 6th against Cincinnati. Went 4 1/3, gave up 3 runs on 3 hits, struck out 4, walked 4. So fastball, slider changed the arsenal. 3/4 guy. Fastball has some arm side run to it at 93.
Trey coming off a solid series with a lot of exciting moments against the Phillies. Pitch right in on his hands. He went 5 for 16 against the Phils. Drove in 3 runs, scored a bunch. On base 27 of his last 29 games.
Well, you look at how Montero falls off the mound on the first base side. Maybe to put in the computer for next time for Trey. Lay a bunt down third baseline. He's not going to get you.
1-2. Turned it over. 85 on the change. Counts even. Mets have pitched Turner pretty well this year. He's 3 for 18 against New York. He'll pull it left side. Now the race is on. And he is safe. Requiring Asdrubal Cabrera to go with the bare hand play.
You know, one of these days I'll have enough nerve to say there goes a no-hitter before he gets in the box. But we talk about his speed all the time, and I think this is only the second, maybe the third infield single he's had since he's been called up. I mean, Cabrera can't play it any better than that. Good pick by Loney, but Trey Turner just too fast. He had to go bare hand, so that was a pretty play by the Mets shortstop. Trey Turner just too fast. Let's watch him run a little bit. I'm going to say maybe a bunt hit, the ground ball to Joe Panic, and that one are his only infield hit since he's been called up, but I could be wrong.
Jason Worth. Like Turner and like Murphy behind him, Nats who have not faced Montero, who pitched against Washington a couple of times last year. 1 start, once out of the bullpen. Trey is 23 out of 26, sort of.
Catcher named Replay Challenge has caught him 3 times.
I know that guy. He's got a gun.
He's got a gun.
He's got a lean. There he goes. Looked like a good jump. And it's really no contest. Umpires just wait to make sure he stays on the bag before throwing out the arms. And that's number 24.
Man, one of these times he's just going to round second and keep going to third. That's how much ease he's stealing second base with. Wow. Just keep that mid on the bag. Nicely done.
Want to know to Jason Worth as the pitch missed, as does that one. 2-0. Jason 62 RBIs on the year, 53 career against the Mets.
Yeah, get him over for the Met killer on deck. Well,
and a step off.
That was almost a balk. He started leaning toward home and then stepped off.
To your point, I think I heard some shouts from the first base dugout.
He started leaning toward home and then stepped off the back of the mound. He started his motion and then stepped off. Nobody saw it. At least that's what I saw. Thought I saw. Let's see. What do you got?
A couple little flinches there.
Subtle.
Yeah.
Not as obvious as I thought it was live.
Terry Collins Ball Club. They'll be doing some scoreboard watching. They're a half game ahead of St. Louis. They're hosting the Cubs. And they're a little further behind the Giants, who are hosting the Padres later. So a half game separating those 3 teams. Miami 5 back with 3 weeks to go. Big gap in left center. And Jason Worth sees the off speed, sees how it's low. He is aboard. We have a Bank of America alert.
But this guy's good?
Well, he's made 7 deposits against the Mets this year over the walls, either here or at Citi Field. So his numbers against the Mets just remarkable.
Matt Killer, man. Talk about having an axe to grind.
Yeah. So that's a duet, Toby Keith and Daniel Murphy. How do you like me now? Murph, number 1 in hits and doubles, 175 and 42. DJ LeMahieu had a couple of hits yesterday. It's a 1-point difference in the batting race. Strike 1.
Yeah, I don't think Trey Turner is going to try to steal third with nobody out and Daniel Murphy hitting. But if he does, Jason Worth has to get a jump on the backside because Travis d'Arnaud probably throw it to second, not third.
Murphy to left, a base hit. Here comes Turner. Bob Henley will hold him. That's a strong arm out there, and Cespedes got to it in a hurry. So Murphy back up around 400 against the Mets. And the bases are loaded. Nobody out for Bryce Harper.
Bob Henley with a rare stop at third of Trey Turner, but it was a good one. For some reason, the shortstop wasn't standing where they have for a while, but Cespedes can throw. You see the throw. Turner would have been out. So nice hold by Henley. Good swing by Daniel Murphy as he inches closer to the 200 hit mark.
24 more.
24 more.
After tonight's game, the Nationals have 18 remaining. So here's Harper. Bryce drove in 3 runs this year against the Mets. He's coming off a 4 RBI weekend against Philadelphia. Ball 1, count in his favor. And by the way, Bryce 1 for 2 with a home run against Montero. Well, nothing Mets, and maybe not for long.
Trouble.
The Nats continue to lead baseball with 108 first inning runs.
It's good coffee, man. Somebody's brewing some good coffee down there. They come out swinging every game.
.20 pitch. Ball 3.
Deep trouble.
And Bryce taking.
I think he thought that was low, but now he gets to hit. You know, drive in 1 run with a walker, maybe all 4 with a swing. You say it.
Interesting. Gabriel Inoa.
There you go.
Harper out of play left side. Counts full with nobody out. Crowd getting into it here. close, and it's 1-1. Bryce Harper, 99th walk of the year, resulting in his 81st RBI.
Pretty close to the 3-0 pitch, if I'm not mistaken, and Bryce Harper turned and said something to Jerry Lane. He said it politely, and he got the 3-2 pitch go his way.
Quick early visit by Dan Warthen, the Mets pitching coach.
I set the Mets defense for you. They're all on the mound. Cespedes, Granderson, Brewster in the outfield, but Cabrera, Reyes, Johnson, and Loney were just on the mound with Travis d'Arnaud. So that graphic is totally inaccurate. Should just put all the names on the mound.
Yeah. We try to predict where they'll end up when we show you that graphic. So here's Anthony Rendon with nobody out, bases loaded. Breaking ball low and away. He's 1 for 3 with a homer against Montero.
Lots of traffic.
Yeah, on a pitch inside, 0-2. Not very long since his last slam.
Tuesday, Tony Fourbags goes grand salami. What a pretty swing. I think that was with 2 strikes as well. Pretty sure.
That's needed every one of the runs that night, winning 9-7. Here's Rendon taking an 0-2 pitch.
Guys are getting to know each other out there. Jason Worth is having a chat with Jose Reyes. Daniel Murphy was just talking to Kelly Johnson, but I think they've finished their conversation.
One ball, 2 strikes. Rendon, a swing and a miss. Montero pounding him in on a couple of pitches to get that first out. Wilson Ramos 0 for 3 against Montero.
I look for something he can elevate here. Yeah, they're having a chat still.
They were teammates for a little while last year.
Yeah.
Kelly Johnson. So Wilson Ramos probably checking out those inside fastballs from the on-deck circle, not biting, and it's 2-0.
We're dying to swing, too. Looking for something to drive.
No fastball on 2-0.
The changeup average is 85. That was 87. So almost like a BP fastball, because his fastball's only been 91, 92. So just took a little off.
Ramos topping it. And I know you've talked about this a number of times. The effect in the first inning when Trey Turner gets on base to lead the thing off. It just changes everything. He's already scored. Now a 2-2 to Ramos with 1 out. Not biting, in fact moving him off the plate.
Well, it gets you in the stretch immediately as a pitcher when Trey Turner gets on the first, and now you're thinking about him. And maybe the game plan for the hitter you're facing is secondary to your thoughts about keeping him close, beating up your delivery.
Three-two. Ramos takes ball 4. So Harper's taken a close one for an RBI walk, and so did the Nats catcher. It's 2-1.
You get a 1-run lead as a pitcher at the major league level and you're playing a first place team, you got to take the game by the throat. You can't go out there and walk 3 guys in the bottom of the first inning. You know, it's one thing if they're shooting you out of the yard and you just don't have it, but there's no defense for the walk. So, you know, everybody's having conversations out there on the bases because Rafael Montero's not throwing strikes. His tempo's slow. He's throwing balls. And he was given a 1-run lead, not the way his manager, I'm sure, wants this one to start.
Zimmerman, the 7th national to bat. Pitch number 29 coming. And Ryan up there first pitch hunting.
You go out there as a starter and you get your head kicked in, that happens. And a manager will pat you on the backside and say, hey, get him next time. But when you walk 3 guys and you're nibbling and you're working slow, that's a whole different story that, generally speaking, managers have a tough time with.
Yeah, 1 ball into the outfield. The Murphy opposite field single. There's some good approaches at the plate tonight. Nats not helping Montero out.
17 balls, 14 strikes, 31 pitches. Big at bat for Ryan Zimmerman. I know it's first inning, but you know, you drive in some runs, you feel good about yourself, lighten the load a little bit.
$14 home runs, 41 RBIs. Ryan's 2nd career at bat against Montero, who just stepped off. And Ryan locked up with an uncertain swing, 2 outs. All right, now Danny Espinosa's turn, the 8th national to bat here. Facing Montero for the first time. Well, when Danny makes contact in these situations, he does a ton of damage. That ball skipping into the mid of Travis d'Arnaud. Yeah, Matt Lato's hoping to bat before he throws another pitch. Strike two. Off-speed stuff for a couple of swings and misses.
Gotta throw the slider again, don't they?
You would think this guy can do some big damage with a heater. Espinosa in the air to left. Well, the Mets handed the Nats an opportunity for a huge first inning. They'll put a crooked number up there and take a 2-1 lead.
Two at Nationals Park. It's been a wild ride for Latos over the last couple of years. This is the 5th big league team that he's played for since the start of the 2015 season. Signed a minor league deal with the Nats in late June with the understanding that the Nationals wanted him to get back into better physical shape. He did a ton of running and working out down in Florida, and he pitched to a 1.29 ERA in the minors before joining the Nats, saying recently that his left knee is healthy now. He feels like that's been a big factor for him in pitching so well at the minor league ranks. Dusty was asked whether he's curious to see how Latos pitches tonight. He said, "I'm past curiosity. I'm about excellence and performance. That's why we got Matt Latos. They want to see what they've got in their big right-hander tonight."
Yeah, Marlins, Dodgers, Angels, White Sox, Nationals during the last 2 seasons. Thanks, Dan. WeatherCoons.com sideline report. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting. Kelly Johnson. Latos pours it in there, 1-1. As the Met hitting .278, 9 of his 10 home runs, 23 of his 33 RBIs in 69 games since coming back to the Mets from Atlanta like he did last year. Strike call. Lato's first inning, 11 pitches, 8 strikes. The double, a grounder, the sac fly, and a fly ball to end the inning. Jay Bruce next, and then Travis d'Arnaud.
Well, Latos came up in 2009 with the Padres. His fastball averaged 94. And has kind of gone down a tick every year since then. 1093, 1192, 2012 92, all the way down to 90 right now. But you know, he's more of an off-speed guy. He used to be a power pitcher. The split, the changeup keeps you off balance. Pretty good arm speed on both of the off-speed pitches. And I think that little hitch in his delivery when he takes the ball behind him throws off a hitter's timing. So we'll see.
71 and 57 career, 3.58 career earned run average. And against New York for various ball clubs, he's 2-4 in 11 starts. 2-2 pitch. He will paint the outside edge. Kelly Johnson walks away. It's Latos' first strikeout.
Might have been generous on the strike 3 call. Matt Latos will definitely take it. Fastball way away. That Jerry Lane called a strike.
Here's Jay Bruce having a big year, but not that much so since leaving the Reds and coming to the Mets. 193 in New York in 33 games. But he's 7th in the league in home runs with 29, and 91 RBIs have him 6th. That's a big guy, 6'6", 245. Right over the top with that delivery. Ball 2. Pretty good off speed.
With a changeup, it just kind of floats in there with the same arm speed as his fastball. If he can command that pitch tonight and throw it in hitting counts, he'll have a good night.
Working quickly. 2-2, 1 out. Yeah, why not go out there again? Didn't get the call that time.
It's the exact same pitch.
And there's the catcher, Travis d'Arnaud. Ball was outside and no swing, according to Scott Berry. And the Mets have a runner with 1 out. Inside the numbers on Matt Latos, brought to you by Jeep. So time with the White Sox this year, and the Angels we mentioned. Most of his career in the National League, though. So his splits facing the DH and no DH. Brought to you by Jeep.
Born in Alexandria, Virginia, but grew up in South Florida.
Yeah, originally drafted by the Padres, 11th round back in 06. Coconut Creek High School, Broward Community College in Fort Lauderdale. A 1-0 pitch with 1 out. Counts even.
Right to Coconut Creek High. That just sounds like a TV show high school.
Doesn't sound like Alexandria, Coconut Creek, does it?
Coconut Creek High. Were they the Coconuts?
I don't know. Base hit left field. Travis d'Arnaud with a well-hit ball. Brad Eldred. Remember him, a major leaguer? He and Matt Latos, the two from that high school. 2 on 1 out.
Travis d'Arnaud looking for that fastball, and you see his numbers, but he always plays well against the Nats, you feel like. Average right around 250 now.
Well, trouble brewing at the bottom of the order. James Loney is next. Loney has seen a lot of Latos. We got a former Dodger batting against a former Padre here. He's 8 for 24 with a couple of home runs. Got the call outside edge to get ahead. Espinosa keeping the runner honest. And this one high in the air, tailing over toward Jason Worth. Breeze blowing that way, 2 down. And the pitcher, Rafael Montero, is next. Montero 0 for 3 this year, career 0 for 16.
I mean, he's got to feel like he's got a new lease on life, right? White Sox got rid of him. Nats pick him up. He goes to the minors. Applies himself, gets another chance. Gotta feel like a little kid out there.
Yeah, not to mention the meaning of the game that he's pitching. A couple of teams, one trying to wrap up a division, the other one trying to stall that as long as possible and become a wild card. That'll get you going. Oh, 2 to the pitcher with 2 outs. And Montero taking another hack.
Now that last swing might buy him some off speed here.
That is right on the edge. Mets get a walk and a hit. They've stranded their first 2 runners. It'll be Latos leading off, bottom of the 2nd. Taking care of business fairly well so far. Seats. Down close to the field here at the Yard, it's 2-1 Nats after an inning and a half. All right, Terps and Hoyas, tomorrow night's your night with the purchase of a special ticket. Enjoy pregame activities. Get a reusable Nats acrylic cup in Maryland or Georgetown colors before the Nats take on the Mets. 7:05 game time. Nationals.com/college rivalry day for all your ticket information. Let's go.
Sunglasses at night. I like it. She's cool.
Well, Matt Latos in his career has done some hacking. 131 career, 3 home runs, 14 batted in. He had 2 at-bats for the White Sox in interleague play this year. (2-0). Montero first inning, 37 pitches, 19 strikes.
Taking all the way right here.
He'll take a strike on the edge. And another.
Now he's ready.
All right, it's full, 3-2. Love to see him get aboard in front of Turner and watch them both scream around the bases. That ball is crushed to left field. See you later. Matt Lato's 4th career home run. 3-1 Washington. First home run by a Nationals pitcher this year.
Totally saw that coming. I'm sitting up here watching that at bat thinking he had some pop, but there's no way anybody was thinking Matt Latos was going to go deep right there. No way, and he just did. I mean, he gets a flaw from Daniel Murphy.
And then Turner, a broken bat line drive caught by Reyes. 1 out.
And he even knew how to do the flaw at the end. Matt Latos. You got to be kidding me. Catches it out front. What a great swing. Slow with the lower half, quick with the upper half. How about Max Scherzer? What do you think? Yeah, could you believe it? He's always into it. Look at the pictures. You know why they're going crazy? Because that's all they practice. Well, they do some bunting, but then they just try to hit jacks.
So Lato's first is a Nat, but he has 1 more career home run now than Gio, who was jumping up and down. Here's Jason Worth. Ball 1 to him.
But back to my point, you know, you go 3-2 to the pitcher and just lay one down the middle, not what his manager's looking for.
In an inning, right after he walked 3 and was lucky to escape giving up just 2 runs.
Renee, they're banged up. Everybody knows it, but still.
Now Worth will reach out and hit a fly ball to left. Cespedes. And next up is Daniel Murphy, who set a little versus the Mets history last time. When he got that base hit, he became the 4th player ever to have 17 games in a row against one ball club with a hit. He's hit safely in all 17 against the Mets this year. Most recent, D. Gordon did it last year, but a couple of other guys way back when. Rennie Stennett of the Pirates in '74 and Luis Castillo of the Marlins in '02. 17-game streak against your former ball club.
That didn't want you. That's the best part. It's not like he had a deal from the Mets, a deal from the Nats, and he took the Nats over the Mets. They just decided to go in a different direction.
.406 against the Mets this year. It's just amazing. It's 26 hits in 64 at bats. One. That's one. It's going to hook into the seats.
So he signed a 3-year deal with the Nats. That deal's up in 18. The Mets can always just sign him back so they don't have to play against him. After his deal's up here, he can go back to New York, and then they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. He might have 100 hits against him by then.
Yeah.
Now that might be the most emphatic of the year when he thought he was about to get hit.
Can we please hear that again? Goodness gracious, that was awesome. Look at it, listen, here you go. I don't know why I find that so amusing, I just do. It wasn't like a oh like he usually does. That was just a long, loud scream.
2-2 pitch. That ball just a rocket foul.
It was primal.
The other way, and it's fair that way. That ball's going to get deep into the corner. Cespedes has to retrieve it at the 3:36 mark. And you talk about using the ballpark. Daniel Murphy hit number 177, 43rd double, and his 73rd extra base hit.
That is just beautiful. I mean, everything was in the sequence. He pulled him foul, so maybe he's even thinking, well, I just own the inner half of the plate. There's no way they're coming in there again. And just goes full Wade Boggs double down the left field line. That's the Wade Boggs swing that I get really excited about. That was beautiful.
Here's Bryce Harper. First base open, right-handed batter on deck. And we may see an intentional walk here in the second inning. And for Bryce Harper, this would be his 100th walk. And that was, a little too close for comfort for the Mets. Looking at Harper's season, this is the 18th time Bryce has been walked intentionally, so it's kind of interesting. Aside from the Chicago weekend at Wrigley Field, Bryce really hasn't been walked intentionally much all year.
Did you see Gary Sanchez against the Rays?
Oh, sac fly
on Saturday. Yeah, they were trying to intentionally walk him, and they said heads up. They were yelling from the dugout that this guy had the thing on the intentional walks, that he might throw one close, and he scooted up in the box and almost hit it out to left center for a sac fly.
For every Nats walk this year, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to support Girls on the Run DC. 483 over 24 grand. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield wants each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Go for a walk. There's Anthony Rendon. Struck out swinging first time. So Murphy starting a possible 2-out rally here after Matt Latos led off the inning with his 4th career home run. Anthony not biting on the inside this time, and it's 2-0. Rendon, 37 doubles on the year, top 5 in the league. And he's going to go high and deep to left with this one. See you later. Halfway up to the concourse. The Nationals have taken a 6-1 lead.
Anthony Rendon's quiet, unassuming, one of the most humble players you ever meet, but deep down in there, there's drive and desire, and I guarantee you when Terry Collins walked Bryce Harper to get to him, he just took that personal and made the Mets pay the biggest price they possibly could.
That's 6 runs in an inning and 2/3.
That's every player's dream. You walk the guy in front of me to get to me, and then I take you deep. That was awesome.
Thought I heard somebody holler field goal from the dugout. 3 for the Nats on that swing and a 5-run lead. Gabriel Enoa, first pitch about 5 feet outside.
That was close. Good take.
23-year-old right-hander from La Vega, Dominican Republic, and his 6th big league appearance. Two 2-0. Ramos got a 74th RBI in that 3rd walk of the first inning. Last time up. So the Nats knocked Montero out after an inning and 2/3. 5 hits, 6 runs, 4 walks, 1 intentional. 60 pitches, 30 strikes. Anthony Rendon, 2 home runs from 20.
That'll be 6 players with 20 home runs. It's only been done 2 other times in the National League. In history is both by the Braves. Fastball, slider, curveball change for Enoa. Fastball averages 94.
And Ramos the other way. Anthony Rendon now hitting about 325, 7 homers, 39 RBIs his last 44 games. RBI total at 75. 3-2 to Ramos. He'll take it up and in.
Let's show you number 18 off the bat of Anthony Rendon. Low fastball, was supposed to be away, had some run back to it, and he shoots him. 3-run homer to make this one a 6-1 ball game. High and deep to left field. He's so good. Just a under the radar top 3 third baseman in the National League, maybe in all of baseball.
Yeah, great call.
Some good ones in the other league. Real good ones.
Ryan Zimmerman. And that ball way outside. Terry Collins pitchers have issued 4 unintentional walks already. That's hit hard. Reyes gets behind it, and the short throw to second. The Nats with Latos leading off. The starter tonight, his 4th career home run, and it was a beauty into the bullpen. Murphy restarted a rally 2 outs later, and then Anthony Rendon topped it off.
We go to the top of the 3rd inning. 8 fans, remember our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers are donating $250 to the Children's National Health System for every home run a Nats player hits this season. So keep them coming. It's for a wonderful cause. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
Anthony Rendon, 35 career RBIs against the Mets now. First pitch, 3rd inning inside to Jose Reyes, who has one of New York's 2 hits. He pulled a double down the right field line to start the game. Went to 3rd on a Cabrera 1-hopper to Murphy. Scored on a Cespedes sac fly. It's in there, 1-1. Rendon even with a bag at 3rd. Reyes took a glance that way. Off speed, up and away. Matt Missing with the heater away. Don't want to walk this guy right after you've had a big inning offensively. Cabrera next. Counts full. And he missed. Second walk by Matt Latos. Check out the Nats and the Mets Wednesday. It's a 4:05 game. It's Air Force Day. Performances by the U.S. Air Force band Max Impact, the drill team, the singing sergeants, and a special first pitch and pregame flyover. Visit nationals.com/tickets.
We're leading the league in flyovers.
Off we go into the wild blue yonder.
I love it.
2 days from now.
I love it.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. He'll drill it to left. Jason Worth moving back. Edge of the track for the first out. Reyes back to first. Asdrubal's hit the ball pretty well. First 2 times, a one hopper to Murphy, short right field, and then that one opposite field. Here's Cespedes. And as FP described, just kind of reached out, flared one about 340, 350 to center field for a sac fly. First time up.
You remember that post-game press conference where Terry Collins lost it? It was on August 11th. The Mets had just lost 9-0 to the Diamondbacks at home and got swept. They dropped to 57-57. Their record since is 19-10. And he started with, "I'm the manager here. It starts with me. And I don't care who's not here. There are no excuses. These are major league players." And he went on for about 10 minutes in the presser, just one question asked. And I think the message was sent to his squad. He said, "I don't care who they are, where they come from. I don't care how they got here. The names on the front of the jerseys says they're major league players. It starts with them. You owe responsibility to our fans, our organization, to yourself to respect this game and grind it out, whether it's hot or whether it's cold." And he kept going on, and it was one of the most passionate speeches I've heard a manager say after the game. He went on to say, "You cannot say, 'woe is me' at this level. You can't do it. Everybody is good up here. Nobody feels sorry for you. Those who get out of it stay here a long time." And he went on to say, "You need to pick yourself up and move on, play the game the right way, and good things will happen." And after that day, they have for this ball club.
Runner going. Espinosa has to back up. Murphy ducks, and I would too, with that arm throwing to first for the second out. Well, that's great stuff, FP. What he just said there in a lot of different ways. And you know this because you played. It's the essence of playing at the highest level and calling yourself a major leaguer.
And it's the essence of Terry Collins, too. And he ended it with, "We're starting tomorrow. We're starting fresh." And they have. And he deserves a lot of credit because his ball club's banged up. They've hung around when a lot of people, including myself, didn't think they were going to hang around. So if anyone's wondering about his job security, I think he's going to be back. And if he's not, somebody will swoop him up in a second. He's a great manager.
6th year with the Mets. 3 years with Houston before that. A couple of years with the Angels. He played 11 years in the minor leagues, including 6 years in one place, Albuquerque, AAA. Curtis Granderson takes a strike.
I mean, you got Cespedes and Cabrera back, which helps. He's had some young pitchers step up in his rotation. But the fact that they're in the wild card with half-game lead on the second spot is amazing to me. Amazing. They could have packed it up and folded up shop and went home.
0-2. Matt Latos consistently attacking that outside edge with a 5-run lead, keeping the ball away from the pull side. Off speed, swing and a miss. Ramos can't find the ball. He has time, and he throws a bullet to Ryan Zimmerman. Great recovery by Wilson Ramos. Lato, strikeout number 3. He's doing it on both sides of the ball tonight. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Jordan Zimmerman's had some injury problems, a bunch of them. In the second half, came back for a start. Now he'll miss his next one. David Ortiz passed another Red Sox great, Jimmy Fox, 18th all-time. And Danny Salazar, he's the guy the Indians need, but his postseason role in jeopardy. Mild strain in his flexor. That was an MRI done yesterday, and the Indians may be without him. Bottom of the third, Espinosa. The power hitter Latos, and then Trey Turner. Danny, a fly ball to the left. Final out of that 2-run first inning.
Slugger alert.
3-0, and both Mets pitchers, Montero and Inoa, have consistently fallen behind hitters. Inoa walked Ramos when he came in, got Zimmerman after falling behind. Ryan on a ground ball. Hard hit. That's a strike. And to the right side, James Loney. It's always been a smooth first baseman. 1 out. So here comes Matt Latos.
All right, check this out. On Tuesday, September 27th, be one of the first 25,000 fans enter the ballpark. You get a Ben Revere Garden Gnome presented by Delta Airlines. Catch the Nationals and D-backs at 7:05. To bring home this year's gnome, you say that. Visit nationals.com/tickets. So Ben Revere Garden Gnome.
So Coconut Creek High School's Matt Latos is they're the Cougars, by the way.
Oh, I want them to be the Coconuts.
Yeah, thanks to our buddy Pete Kurzel, our Masson colleague, looked that up for us.
Coconut Creek Coconut sounds way better.
Yeah, breaking ball away, 1-1. Different pitcher, of course, now.
You hit a homer, you get breaking balls. That's the way it goes. Another one.
Yep.
I'm going to say one more. Yep.
Look out, right field bullpen. High stays alive. That one probably got a little more at the plate than Inoa wanted. . . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
Another one.
Swing and a miss, 2 down. All right, Matt Latos down to a .250 average this year. Got some numbers on Trey Turner. Who doesn't? Most hits in first 55 games of a season. So these are rookies in the Montreal-Washington franchise. Cromartie could really hack. Of course, Vlad, the great Tim Raines, Delino. Brought to you by Jeep. I like looking at those young player lists because the Expos probably did as good a job as anybody at drafting and getting young players to the big leagues. It's just a shame they couldn't hold on to a lot of them.
Yeah, well, write a check once in a while and you would.
1-1. Turner to right. Jay Bruce. And that's it. First 1-2-3 inning of the night, and we're into the middle innings. 6-1 Nationals. Baseball brought to you by the RAV4 Hybrid. All-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com. Tonight.
Gut bomb. Gut bomb. But don't eat that. I mean, eat it if you want, but.
Oh, man.
That's a serious gut bomb.
I heard somebody say with or without cheese. Didn't know that was an option. Top of the 4th, Kelly Johnson, Jay Bruce, Travis d'Arnaud.
Watching the Redskins game, and some Steeler fans here. He couldn't get tickets, so he decided to come to the yard.
Glad they're here.
7-6 there, 6-1 here.
First pitch, and Kelly Johnson fouls one out of play. First 3 innings, Matt Latos, 47 pitches, 32 strikes.
The odds of both professional sports teams in DC playing at the same time and having the number 6 next to them. Go.
I'd say 150,000 to 1.
I agree.
I'd take a dollar bet on that.
Yeah.
That's the second one that's hopped out in front of the plate and then went over the left shoulder of Wilson Ramos.
Odds would be even higher if the Caps were playing too tonight.
Won't be long before that starts happening.
Right.
Target in. Kelly Johnson, career 0 for 9, 2 walks against Matt Latos. Struck him out looking first time. You might remember that pitch away. That time he goes in her half, and Matt thought he had strike 3.
Well, what I'm liking from Latos tonight is he's really getting the downward tilt on his fastball because of his tall frame. You see how it's harder to square up. You know, there was times, even we saw him in Chicago this year, where it was flat, but it looks like he's really getting back on top and getting that downward plane to it.
So the previous pitch on the Nissan look, and then Bryce Harper, kind of a nice, safe way to play a foul ball down the line in tight quarters.
Well, if you're not 100% sure where you're at because you're tracking the ball and you have to go a long way, this is, you saw him glance real quick, just put the brakes on, flaps down, gear down. Nicely done.
Bryce has played excellent defense this year. That doesn't get talked about much unless he's, you know, throwing guys out at third or something. The bat flew into the screen, the ball into the glove of Rendon, and Jay Bruce is down for a quick out.
I think Anthony Rendon handed Matt Latos a ball like that because it had pine tar all over it. You see him have his palm up and just hand him the ball like, here, dude, you have substance all over the ball if you want to use it. And Latos threw it out, screen saving somebody's life. Maybe the owners.
There's Travis d'Arnaud with 2 outs, bases empty. Latos, for the most part tonight, working in good counts, not falling way behind guys. He has walked a couple. Neither have scored. Up and away, 2-1. And this one out of play to the right. Look at the late movement on that. A beauty of a splitter by Matt Latos, and the strikeout, his 4th of the night. He's been very efficient through 4, leading by 5. You could save 15% or more on car insurance in just 15 minutes. I mean, they're getting after it tonight. Look at George. Bill. But it's George at the end.
Yeah, I think those are the ones where they wager privately in the tunnel. They just run straight. Everybody puts $20 in the pot. At least I hope that's what they're doing.
Yeah. That would help your finishing kick.
Yeah.
A little motivation.
A little incentive, never hurt anyone.
6-5-0 Nats, 1-2-0 Mets. Worth, Murphy, Harper. Bottom of the fourth. And as Jason steps in 0 for 1 with a walk and a run, you wonder what the guy on deck has in store with his third at bat in 4 innings.
Hit somewhere.
Colorado opens up a series at Arizona tonight, featuring DJ LeMahieu.
That's a can't miss series.
Well, if you like tracking a batting race, and DJ is in the lineup tonight. He'll be facing Shelby Miller. It's a team game, of course, but we enjoy tracking individual things from time to time, and this involves our best hitter against their best guy. And it's 1-2 to Jason Worth.
We talked about the stance for JC. He's tinkered with it, kind of a little more open. He's got a leg kick going.
He goes down and gets that pitch right off the ground for a base hit. Worth the other way. He's on for the second time.
But who has the plate coverage on the pitch down and away like Jason Worth does? I mean, he covers so much of the outside half of the plate because of his long limbs. He's a large human being, but he just goes the extendo swing here for the base knock. Nicely done.
Here's Murphy. Single through the shortstop hole. Double down the left field line. Nobody out, 4th inning. That was such a great thing. I mean, Latos had homered, but then 2 quick outs. Mets think, okay, maybe we're out of the inning. It's 3-1. Murphy starts another rally with a Harper walk and a Rendon homer to follow. Suddenly it's 6-1.
Coming in hot.
Way in there. And we heard him again. Started the night at 344. By the way, it's already his 54th multi-hit game.
We were talking batting title in April.
Yeah.
With his consistent approach, his foot down early, getting 2 hits a day.
Murphy will hit one high in the air to left. It'll back up Cespedes. On May 1st, by the way, he was hitting 370, to your point. 2 more against the Mets, A.J. Cole and Noah Syndergaard tomorrow night. And then Tanner Roark and Robert Gesellman in the 4 o'clock game on Wednesday. And then it's on to Atlanta. Off day Thursday, 3 there, 3 at Miami. 4 days in Pittsburgh, but 3 games, and there's AJ. Bryce walked intentionally last time. First time with the bases loaded, took a close 3-2 pitch and got his 81st RBI. Bryce thus on base 26 of his last 28 games now. 27 runs over that time.
If you let your mind wander ahead to October, and I feel like it's okay to do it, you talk about the Nats offense. Trey Turner's never been there, but he's going to be a force. Jason Worth loves to play in the month of October. We know what Daniel Murphy did last October. Bryce Harper in 14 was spectacular. Anthony Rendon in 14 was spectacular. So you got a lot of hitters that love to play in October and have track record in the biggest games.
Harper rips one foul.
I mean, Jason was a force with the Phillies in their World Series run. He loves the spotlight. He loves the clutch moment. Bryce Harper showed us what he's all about against the Giants in 14. Anthony Rendon, I feel like, was one of the only Nats hitting in that series besides Bryce. And we all know what Daniel Murphy did last year, so I'm probably leaving somebody out, but that's the core group that has had success in the postseason, and I think it bodes well for their chances when they get there.
No, I think you named them all. Two-two, runner on the move, pitch outside, and Jason Worth got a great jump, and he's at second base with one out. The count goes to 3-2 on Harper, and Jason Worth is 5 out of 6 this year.
But when he goes, he makes it, but he stay on the base. I think as Drubel's asking him right now, there was some shuffling of feet once he got to the base, and it's something you unfortunately have to look at nowadays in baseball. Did he stay on? Yes, he did. Nicely done. Look at the hook slide. Keep that right foot on there. Look at Cabrera looking for any part coming off. That's a veteran move. You got to keep tags on runners nowadays.
That looked like a carrier landing right there. That was good. Now it's full to Bryce, who's already walked twice. Time given. Bryce Harper walks for the third time, and now that's 101, and he has 2 more walks than strikeouts this year. Rendon will complete Gabriel Ynoa's first time through the entire batting order. There's Jim Henderson.
Pretty good crowd tonight, all things considered. School night, Monday night, Redskins playing way the heck out wherever they play. I like it. Good crowd.
They've had a lot to be excited about, a lot of base runners. And they've urged the guys on to good things here early. Ynoa ahead, inner half. Anthony Rendon, a high drive to center. Granderson setting up. Runners return. 2 outs.
Just missed it.
It's a live bat right now.
Just missed it.
Ynoa due to bat second in the 5th. That's why Henderson is warming. Terry Collins has 12 relievers. So there are 26 relief pitchers in the bullpens. And he also has an 11-man bench, 2 more than the Nats.
But the Blue Jays Red Sox have 18 pitchers in the game yesterday. 18.
How about that? Ramos, 2 walks, 1 for an RBI back in the first.
How would you have liked to charted that game if you were pitching the next day?
I'd have to pull out some of the per diem money for the next road trip and just wave it in the dugout.
Give it to
anybody.
Clubhouse kid.
Travis d'Arnaud's had a long night behind the plate so far. He looks up at Ramos, his counterpart, as he gives the sign for a 1-1. That one on the inner half. Strike 2. Look at that pitch count. The Mets at 100. Ramos a chopper foul.
Wilson trying to keep that average over 300. It's a big thing for a ball player. You worked hard all season long and you've been up as high as 330, 340, and all of a sudden you go in a little spiral. You start seeing that thing go down the scoreboard, maybe start pressing a little bit as it gets closer to 300. Every player wants to hit 300.
That's 144th game for Wilson Ramos, number 121. And with the runners on the move, that's going to keep the average up. He's going to drive in Worth. Bryce Harper to third. The Nationals lead 7-1, and they have scored a bunch of runs with 2 outs tonight.
The Buffalo checking in with a knock and a stake to make it 7-1 Nats. Inside out swing. Nice adjustment from the last pitch. He came around it, pulled it foul. This one he fired his hands inside the baseball. The bat died a hero. Broken bat single scores Jason Worth. So the Nats with a touchdown here against the Mets.
That 2 hits, a steal by Worth, around to walk in this inning. And here's Ryan Zimmerman. Just desperately wanting to join the offensive party here. Strike call. Up the middle, Zimmerman gets his base hit. It's 8-1, and Ryan has driven in 42 this year. Line moving here in the fourth.
A little smile from Ryan Zimmerman. You can smile, Ryan. High five the bat boy. Just high five the bat boy. Oh, I knew he was going to do something funny at first base. Bat boy came out to get his batting gloves. He gave him a high five. Ryan Zimmerman back up the middle. Keeps the line moving. Nicely done. Knock. Stake. Hit it hard last time. Hit it in the right spot this time. That's a good feeling at first base.
Nationals deeper into the Mets bullpen now. It'll be their 3rd pitcher in 4 innings tonight. Jim Henderson on the way, and Ryan Zimmerman's loving it, and we love it for him. Ryan Zimmerman checks in with a base hit. It is 7, make it 8-1 now, with 2 more runs in this inning. And this is 33-year-old Jim Henderson with Milwaukee for 3 years. First year with the Mets, and out of their bullpen, his 39th appearance.
He throws a fastball 82% of the time, so good chance you're getting one of those at 93. Slider 84, 18% of the time.
Danny Espinosa 0 for 3 career against him. Oh, up on the back, and Espinosa walking to first base. The bases are loaded.
That one hurt. Danny's a tough dude, and that one hurt. He's taking mental inventory right now, and that was right square between the numbers. And I don't think Dusty Baker loved that. And I know Danny Espinosa didn't.
Danny Espinosa is hit by a pitch for the 20th time this year.
I mean, this, whether it was intentional or not, I have no idea, but it didn't look good regardless. Right in the ribs.
Derek Dietrich of Miami 22, Danny Espinosa of Washington 20 times hit by pitches this year.
I'd say that's the most painful one he's gone through this year.
Here's Latos.
I'll ask him tomorrow.
Matt Latos up there pumping.
He tried for a grand slam. Sometimes you're standing on first wondering, do you just want to get to the pitcher and save his pitches?
Third inning tonight where the Nats have sent at least 8 men to the plate. 0-2. Latos into right center. Ball hanging up. Jay Bruce gets there. Matt Latos does not get cheated in the batter's box. He's doing pretty well on the mound too. Big lead now, 8-1. We'll get right to the good stuff. There's been tons of good stuff here. 8-1. Matt Latos, Anthony Rendon, Daniel Murphy with 54 nights of wonderful sleep. And we're going to go back to the Matt Latos effort before we show you his tater. Getting some love right there on a called third strike. And then Travis d'Arnaud on a nasty split. And here's a tater. Matt Latos going deep. A big bomb to left field. All the pitchers loving it.
And he's definitely the cool kid in class tonight.
So it's 8-9-1 for the Mets. Top 5. Sean Gilmartin throwing in their bullpen. We'll see what Terry Collins does in a moment with his number 9 spot. First up, James Loney, fly ball to left, first time up. Gilmartin, one of their 4 lefties. In fact, a couple of them have Washington roots. Jerry Blevins and Josh Smoker, originally drafted by the Nationals. And Latos, a strike, 5th inning underway. Alejandro De Aza. Tapper, too tall for Latos, but here comes Danny Espinosa. Left-handed hitting De Aza. He's been a great pinch hitter for the Mets this year. 12 for 48. Couple of home runs. And he's 2 for 3 career against Matt Latos.
Matt Latos was laying in bed last night thinking about his first start in a couple of months in the big leagues. I guarantee you a home run was not what he was thinking about. Or maybe it was, but I highly doubt it.
And he goes inside, moves De Aza back 2-0. Mixing things up very well tonight. Through 4 innings, averaging right around 15 pitches per inning. And he's trying to make De Aza his 8th batter in a row retired. Mets haven't had a hit since the 2nd. And now they have another runner. So second time around the order, they go 0 for 7, 2 walks. Reyes and now De Aza. Jose Reyes coming up for his 3rd at bat. Well, how about seniors strolling the bases? That's when the Nats played the D-backs in a couple of weeks, September 29th. 105 game with the purchase of a special ticket. If you're 60 and older, stroll the bases following the game. Visit nationals.com/seniorsstroll to check on those special tickets. That ball ripped into right field by Reyes, who's on for the 3rd time. Double, walk, and single. 2 on, 1 out. Asdrubal Cabrera's put good wood on the ball twice. One hopper to Murphy, who was playing right field on the shift. And then a fly ball fairly deep to left, caught by Jason Worth.
I don't know if Matt Latos is hurt or not. He was just stretching after that pitch, and now he's calling Wilson Ramos out. I think he might have hurt something. They're looking in the dugout for help. I think they want the trainer.
Oh boy.
Dusty Baker. Something didn't feel right after that last pitch. Saw it, didn't want to say anything, but now you have to.
Dusty joined by Paul Lessard and Mike Maddox. Stirring in the bullpen suddenly.
I mean, it must be bad if he called timeout, called the trainer out. I think it's his right hamstring. I mean, he's staring at a win right in the face. He needs 2 outs to qualify for a win, so you know he's feeling it.
Sean Burnett is throwing.
Sean Burnett is the bridge, apparently. A couple looks at it. We'll show you what happened. Here's the pitch, and it's way out. Excuse me, way after the pitch, where Matt Latos reaches for his hamstring as he goes back up on the mound. We'll show it to you. It's coming up. Right here, watch. Kind of goes back up on the mound, and then maybe just a cramp. It looked like a cramp got him as he was walking up the backside of the mound.
.68 pitches, 43 strikes. Latos in 4 1/3 innings, and into the bullpen when we come back.
Time as he needs to get loose. You talk to pitchers, they always say it's really weird when they get as many pitches they want on the mound, standing out there in front of everybody. But we'll show you what happened to Matt Latos one more time. Try to piece this whole thing together for you. So there's the pitch to Jose Reyes. And then as he walks back up on the mound, something grabs.
Wow.
Like a cramp. I don't think he pulled his hamstring walking back up on the mound, and usually you try to work a cramp out, especially when you're staring a W right in the face. You know, with September 7th, he had a W when he pitched the 11th inning for the Nats, so he was looking at his second W in the week.
Well, in this game, just when things are rolling along, you never know what's right around the corner. So Latos gone. Trevor Gott will be on. 24-year-old right-hander about to make his 3rd appearance for the Nationals. Part of that expanded bullpen that got a whole lot bigger last week.
Man, there's the arsenal for Gott. Fastball, curveball is what I have. That's what I got. Fastball 95, curveball 79.
With the Angels last year, 48 ball games. .3 ERA. He's a contact guy. Had 27 strikeouts in 48 innings last year. He was part of the Yunel Escobar deal.
It's a huddle going on between first and second. It's a Monday Night Football huddle. Who's the quarterback there?
I don't know. You know,
Espinoza. With
if you want a scrambling quarterback, Danny's my guy.
Yeah, he's got a good arm. Murph would be, you know, the guy that just doesn't make mistakes to lose the game. Just manages the offense. Rendon would be the guy that's just quiet and unassuming, that just wins. And Ryan Zimmerman would be the All-American quarterback from high school and college.
Yeah.
That married his high school sweetheart, and yeah. Trey Turner would be a wide receiver. There's no doubt about that. Jason Worth would be, I'm going to say, free safety at 6'5", just lighting people up. And Bryce Harper, I want to say fullback, but no, he'd be more like a tailback.
Yeah, Bryce could take a couple of hits.
Yeah. Things you talk about while the pitcher warms up.
All right, we're ready. As Jubal Cabrera 0 for 1 career against Trevor Gott. Mets have 2 on 1 out. Couple of dangerous hitters coming up. The Nationals have a big lead, but these two could change the complexion of the game in a hurry. Nats looking for a ground ball. Cabrera has hit into 12 double plays this year. And got 94 right in there. When we met Trevor at the Winterfest last year, we were marveling at him. Not that big of a guy, 6 foot 185 they listed, but he can bring it. And that's a beauty at 77.
Just stinks for Matt Latos.
Yeah.
2 outs away from a win. Did everything right tonight. Last pitch by Mercedes-Benz on the pitch track. There's the curveball at 77.
Oh, 2, and he goes curveball again. So Sean Burnett's still throwing. Looks like Reynaldo Lopez has joined him. Lopez technically would be the 15th reliever.
Seven-run lead looks nice. This game ain't over.
It's early, man.
Just saying.
And you know, these are the guys that make it happen for the Mets. 1 through 4: Reyes, Cabrera, Cespedes, Granderson. One-two pitch, and he gets the fly ball short center. Trey Turner, no runners going anywhere, and an important second out for Trevor Gott with Cespedes next. Yoenis Cespedes 0 for 1 career against Trevor. Still at second base Diaz, at first base Reyes. And he's ahead of his second straight hitter. Target in.
Got to get it in there. It's a good pitch.
Yeah.
It's not a strike. It's a good pitch. Served its purpose. You know, when you're standing on defense and you see the catcher call fastball in to a power hitter, the way he approaches that pitch tells you a lot about your teammate. So my point is, if you miss over the plate when you're going in, it could go in the seats. And you gain points with your teammates by when you go in as a pitcher, you miss in there, and you're not afraid to go in there. Now all of a sudden guys are saying, yeah, I like this. Even though that's a ball right there, he's showing he's not scared. I mean, now he's got to make a pitch 3-1, but if you're going to go in, either shave off that corner or miss off the plate into a guy with 30 home runs.
Fourth most in the league.
You alligator arm it, throw it down the middle. Everybody playing defense says he's scared.
3-1, and it's into right. Trevor Gott overpowers Yoenis Cespedes. Bryce Harper has it, and so through 5 for the pitching staff. Just 1 run on 3 hits. Very good.
Park. We mentioned earlier on the Nationals have scored the most first inning runs of any team in the majors this season. Now up to 110 runs they've scored in the first, more than any other team in the big leagues. A big part of that the last couple months, Trey Turner, who after tonight is now hitting .440 in the first inning this season with 7 extra base hits and 9 stolen bases. So he's really been the igniter for this Nationals team overall and in the first inning. I asked Trey recently if he at all changes his approach for his first at-bat of the game in terms of maybe trying to work a deeper count or see more pitches, foul stuff off. He said no, and we've seen him first pitch hack guys a good bit, even early in games. We've also seen him get deep into counts. Doesn't really seem to matter with Trey. He's been fouling off pitches, he's been hacking early in counts. Regardless, he's been getting on base for this Nationals ball club.
Absolutely, Dan. 28 of the last 30 games counting his base hit tonight. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting with our scouting report from Coons.com.
Well, Sean Gilmartin takes the mound for the 11th time this season. Fastball, slider, curveball change. 4-pitch pitcher. Fastball averages 88 miles an hour.
Turner up there hacking. First pitch. It's playable. Jay Bruce puts on the brakes. That ball came twisting back, and the breeze had it a little bit. Fair ball, 1 out. Yeah, Gilmartin out of Florida State, originally drafted by the Braves. And when you have insight, you know how to handle your finances with confidence. Brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you. So Trey Turner wins the Syracuse batting title. Brian Goodwin's with us, as is Pedro. And look at Steve Lombardozzi. Great to see him back in the organization this year. Caleb Ramsey, a good showing. Here's Worth. 1 for 3 career against the lefty, with a couple of RBIs and a double. Got the party started last inning with that leadoff hit as he golfed one into right field.
I like the new stance, and I don't know what the thinking is. Jason didn't hit on the field today, but you get later in the season, you get a little bit tired, the bat gets a little heavier. That leg kick will provide some bat speed for you, some torque in your swing. It's kind of a nice mechanism to get everything going. It's very little too. It's not a very big one, so it's the bigger the leg kick, the harder it is to keep consistent.
I think that's interesting. Most fans would think, well, you got to start earlier, do something with your hands, but the stance can do that, huh?
Yeah, he's creating bat speed with his lower half right now, late in the season, in my opinion.
3-1. Well, you know this guy pretty well.
Some guys go to lighter bats late in the year because the bat starts to feel heavy.
Jason on base twice, couple of runs scored.
This would be a big swing.
That was a big swing.
I'd like to see guys swing like that. (3-1). You worked hard to get there, and now you're trying to go deep. Just missed it. You see it go straight back. That means he was close.
Payoff pitch, and Worth to left center. Hit it so well, little carry out to Cespedes. 2 outs, 5th inning, and here comes Daniel Murphy.
(2017) Nats Plus memberships are on sale right now. Secure your 2016 postseason tickets and guarantee access to the 2018 All-Star Game. You can also enjoy exclusive experiences, rewards, and access that membership provides. Call 202-675-NATS right now. Visit nationals.com/NatsPlus and join today.
Murphy 2 for 3, single double. Fly ball to left. Two for 3 against Gil Martin this year with a homer and 3 RBIs. Got a breaking ball, and Gil Martin cuts it off before it could get by him. 1-2-3 for the Mets lefty. 4-5-6 coming up for New York in the 6th inning. Hey, in full color or white, black, and red, it's all looking good for the Nats. Tonight, we're going to the 6th. Sean Burnett will take over. 33-year-old lefty. He's been very solid in his return. Ball game number 5, just 1 hit, a strikeout in an inning and 2/3 so far.
2 pitches, 2-seam fastball, 88. Slider, 79.
Meanwhile, a good job by Trevor Gott. Couple of quick outs on 10 pitches against 2 great hitters, Cabrera and Cespedes. It's Sean against Curtis Granderson, who's 0 for 1 career against him with a base on balls. 6th inning underway, 8-8-0 Nats, 1-3-0 Mets. And they're getting a little help tonight. Middle innings at St. Louis, the Cubs have a 2-0 lead over the Cardinals, who are a half game behind the Mets for that second wild card spot.
Cardinals probably wish that game was in Chicago.
They can't win at home this year. It's been a struggle for them.
They're 32-39 at home and 43-28 on the road.
So who are the great fastball hitters? Curtis Granderson among those. He and Freddie Freeman, the lefties. That's a cold 3rd strike. Granderson down. And Sean Burnett off to a good start in the 6th. Nissan will track it.
Attack with the fastball. I think Granderson might have been thinking slider, and I also think he might have been thinking ball, but the little cut fastball from Sean Burnett works for strike 3.
Now here's Burnett to Kelly Johnson. Ball 1. The other wild card team, the Giants, throwing Jeff Samardzija at home against the Padres in just under an hour from now. Nats could drop that magic number to single digits tonight. Strike call on the edge, 2-1. Now the Cubs lead 4-0. Strike 2.
Was giving him that outside corner, couple inches out there. Kelly Johnson shaking his head. Sean Burnett will take it.
Yeah, remember the pitch he got called out on back in the 2nd.
Same pitch Curtis Granderson struck out on. Maybe a little closer. That had some black.
2-2. Bouncing ball right side. Ryan Zimmerman made a move to the ball. Knew where Murphy was. 2 outs.
See, everyone thinks there's communication on just pop-ups, but ground balls, the second baseman and first baseman communicate all the time. And you say, I got it, so the first baseman knows to get back to the bag. And for you younger players, the ball hit between first and second, there has to be communication. The reason Ryan Zimmerman peeled off, I know, by the way he did it, is because Daniel Murphy said, I got it. See him hit the brakes right there? Go to first. So you can say it on grounders, too.
Jay Bruce, 4 for 13 career against Burnett. They used to be in the same division, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, respectively. One thing about Sean Burnett, he's not a reliever who comes into the game and everything in the ballpark comes to a grinding halt. He's got a great work rate. Gets the ball and he's ready to roll. Murphy, tough play. It got in his glove. He recovers and throws, but Bruce was already across the bag. And those second basemen, FP, on the shift get some interesting plays in the outfield.
Well, it's a good effort by Murphy. He's getting a standing O right now. Here goes a single for Jay Bruce, but watch this one hopper kind of knock Daniel Murphy down, and look at him stay with it. The effort right there is why he got a standing O. So hat down, glove down, bare hand throw. I mean, if that play lasted any longer, his shirt would have been off, and I don't want to go anywhere else. There's a hockey fight in short right field.
We've heard of hitters undressing fielders before, and it almost happened. Here's Travis d'Arnaud. I mean, but cat-like coming up with that ball with the. I mean, a lot of guys throw that ball in the dugout. d'Arnaud 1 for 2 tonight. He has not faced Sean Burnett before. He has now. Can Bryce get there? He's going to pull up. Couple of 2-out hits.
That was a lights got Bryce. I think if he sees that, he keeps coming. That was right in the bank of lights over the third base dugout. So he got a good jump. He was tracking this, and then all of a sudden he lost it in the lights. And then it was, I hope this doesn't hit me in the face.
Here's the Mets box. Jose Reyes on base 3 times, double, walk, single, but just 3 hits among all the other guys, and 2 of them just happened. James Loney 1 for 2 career against Sean with an RBI. Up in the zone with the heater. Michael Conforto has had a rough second half. He's on deck. In the air to left, and Jason Worth is there. So the bullpen continues to put zeros on the board. And this one to the bottom of the 6th. Bryce Harper straight ahead, 8-1. The Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Bryce Harper, Anthony Rendon, Wilson Ramos. Nets coming up, and here's their box. It's a busy one tonight. Look at the hitting up and down the lineup. Danny Espinosa, he's been aboard, hit by a pitch, 0 for 2. Everybody else chipping in. Bryce, 3 walks, 1 intentional, and 1 for an RBI. We've been waiting for the offense to kind of wake up. The Nats scored 3 runs, more than 3 runs, once in the weekend series against the Phillies. So this is a nice piece of output tonight. Harper and Gilmartin. Bryce 1 for 2 against him. 2 walks. And also worthy to note that a moment ago was the first time Sean Burnett has pitched a complete inning since coming back to the Nats. So he was pretty good. 16 pitches, 13 strikes.
Yeah, all that he went through this year to get back to the big leagues, all the different stops, double Tommy John guy. And to see him back here at Nats Park in a Nats uni is just awesome. Doesn't surprise me though. Really does it if you know the man.
And Bryce Harper, is he questioning Jerry Lane on whether or not he tipped the ball? He's going to be tagged out after an appearance, swing and miss, and that's the first out in the 6th inning.
I think he's saying it was a foul tip. I don't know if I saw it. Maybe we can see it here. Not from that view, it was too fast. Maybe you can hear it? No, I didn't hear anything. But Bryce would know, right?
Yeah, hitters can usually tell. This one high in the air to the right side off the bat of Anthony Rendon, and it's twisting its way back to James Loney. 2 outs. There's Wilson Ramos. 0 for 2 career against Gilmartin. It's a bouncing ball left side. Jose Reyes is going to cut it off. And that is it for the Nats. 7 straight retired by New York pitching. To the 7th in an 8-1 game.
Lights as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Now it's time for Toyota Case for Kids. The Washington area Toyota dealers want to help children and their families and make it a $37 donation to Children's In at NIH for every strikeout by a Nats pitcher this season.
And we just mentioned Sean Burnett for the first time this year has pitched a complete inning And Dusty's going to extend him here.
No, he isn't.
He was waiting for the pinch hitter to be announced. The switch hitter, Ty Kelly. All right, so Sean is done. Well done again, Sean. It's a walk-off to a thunderous ovation here.
Sean Burnett having spitting problems. Win a Nats bobblehead for you and your friend from Hair Cuttery. Find Masson Nationals on Instagram for your chance to win. That's Masson Nationals on Instagram, brought to you by Hair Cuttery, home of the smile back guarantee.
Come on, Sean, smile. You were good tonight, man. Reynaldo Lopez will get an appearance here. The Nats' 22-year-old called up and making 6 starts. 2-3 with a 5.52 ERA, 29 innings, 31 Ks, but a lot of hits, 36.
Well, in an 8-1 game, if you need a reason to be excited, here it is. Reynaldo Lopez as a reliever. So he's got a good fastball, but as a starter, you kind of have to hold it back a little bit. As a reliever, you can let it eat. And I'm sure Dusty Baker is going to take a long, hard look at this kid as a reliever, because if he comes out throwing 98, 99, pumping strikes, you would think he's going to get some big innings in the postseason and make the postseason roster, or have a chance to at least. I think it's a bigger outing than you would expect in an 8-1 game.
Yeah. Bang with 97. Swing and a miss on 78. That's a pretty big difference.
Man, Dusty's on the top step. You see that? I mean, he is checking it out. I mean, what's not to love about 98 coming out of your pen? If he throws strikes.
Yeah, then he goes off speed. Gloves it, throws. Zimmerman snaps it down. Well played on both ends. 1 out on Ty Kelly.
Nifty little play right here. Not easy, especially since you're getting real close to the line. There's not a big lane to throw it. You got to keep it inside. Ryan Zimmerman getting his arm out of the way. Kelly can run.
Now he gets to see him against Jose Reyes, who's had a perfect night. Reyes 0 for 1 with a walk and a first pitch fly ball. Trey Turner, 2 outs. Last inning, the Mets made a couple of straight up switches. They took Cespedes out of the game. They got Asdrubal Cabrera off his feet. So they were replaced respectively by Michael Conforto, who's on deck, and the guy stepping in, who's now the shortstop, Matt Reynolds. Just missing. 2-0. And he's missed on 3 in a row. Inside edge. Walked him with 2 outs. Mike Maddox with a quick visit.
If there were frequent flyer steps for pitching coaches, Mike Maddox would have free round trip tickets wherever he wants to go. He is a hands-on pitching coach for sure. He likes to nip the problem right in the bud, get out there, take care of it. He makes tons of trips to the mound, but he's just trying to loosen up a young kid right now. He's got a game plan. He knows what he's doing. And I think deserves tons of credit for the resurgence of Tanner Roark, for a lot of the success that Max Scherzer's had this year. Done a really good job under the radar, and nobody really talks about Mike Maddox and the job he's done. Or
he's definitely
the miles he's logged to the mountain.
I was going to say, he's definitely the Fitbit leader for any pitching coach in baseball. I don't know, maybe the Colorado guy. That's a lot of visits, Colorado.
He's done a nice job. Real nice job.
True pro right there. Off speed in the dirt, 2-0. Michael Conforto. Got some big hits for the Mets in the postseason last year. Kind of became a rookie darling, but he's hitting .215 this year. Been back and forth a few times between New York and Vegas, their AAA. Now Lopez goes 3-0. Something you see with rookie pitchers sometimes. They'll get the first 2 guys and then at times have a hard time closing out the inning. In this case, 2 walks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only question mark. And I said it when he came in, if he can throw strikes, now you have the confidence to use him in a situation where you're up by 3 or less. So this one tonight, up by 7, turns into an up by 3 in a save situation late. Turns into postseason roster. You're hoping for Ronaldo Lopez.
Curtis Granderson's had 2 good at-bats against him, a 2-run homer and a sac fly. Granderson 0 for 3 tonight. Then he gets that feel pitch, a curveball in there for a strike. Oliver Perez got a big out for the Nats in the 3-2 win against the Phillies yesterday. Oh-2 lifted to right, heading foul. Then Bryce just watches it into the seats. Curtis Granderson's had a quick bat this year. Batting average not that great, .220 or so, but 26 home runs.
But only 48 RBIs.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a weird stat.
Look out. 99. See what he does to follow it up. Follows it up with the curveball, and Anthony Rendon is under it. Another 0 for the Nats pen. Time to stretch. It's 8-1 Washington. In the fourth, domination by the Nats tonight, 8-1 over the Mets, as this one goes to the bottom of the seventh. Jeep, and let's talk about division domination. The Nats are 14-2 against Atlanta, 10-6 against the Mets, 14-5 against the Phillies, and only 7-6 against the Marlins. So Miami's been the toughest team for the Nats to deal with, and by far better in their own division than three other first place ball clubs: the Cubs, Cleveland, and Texas.
Well, somebody was talking about how do they do out of their division, and it's 40-39.
Yeah.
And they were asking, well, how do you win a postseason series if you're only one game over 500 against the rest of baseball? And I said, well, last time I checked, if you win a series 4-3, that's one game over 500.
And you're champions.
And you're champions.
Yeah. It's a good way to look at it. Because September baseball, October baseball can be so tight. Zimmerman, Espinosa, and then the pitcher spot. Matt Latos actually had 3 at-bats tonight before he was taken out of the game, or took himself out with an apparent injury. So nobody's batted in that 9-hole yet, other than the starter. Ryan Zimmerman, big hit for him last time. Hard ground ball up the middle for an RBI, part of that 2-run fourth inning. And now Brandon Nimmo has gone to center and Ty Kelly to third.
Nice job finding Nimmo.
Thank you. Cameras did that. Glad we got that one out of the way early in this series. I'm sure we're the first broadcast crew to come up with that.
You don't have to include yourself in that.
Okay, thanks. 2-2. Slider away for the strikeout. Danny Espinosa next. And if you're at home scoring with us on this game, good luck. But Nimmo is batting first. The pitcher is in the 4 spot. And Kelly's batting 9th, where he pinch hit just a little while ago. So Dusty maybe giving Lopez more than an inning here. Looks like it. Why not? And a breaking ball that Danny takes the other way, out of play. Logan Verrett has filled a variety of roles for the Mets this year. 20 games out of the bullpen, 12 starts. He's a guy they went to early when Harvey and company started having injury problems. He strikes out Danny Espinosa looking. 2 outs, 8th inning, and Lopez will hit. Reynaldo Lopez with the bat, 1 for 8 with a couple of sacrifices.
Yeah, I think I left Ryan Zimmerman out of the postseason guys that do well. He hit close to 312 with a couple homers. He was banged up in 14 though. .381 in 2012, I'm being told. So yeah.
A lot of action on that pitch, and Logan Verrett strikes out the side. We're going to the 8th in game 1 of this 3-game series. It's all Nationals on a Monday night. Tomorrow night. A.J. Cole, 1-2, 4.56 the ERA. Beat the Mets for his first big league win at New York. September 2nd. A run on 3 hits in 6 innings. There's Noah Syndergaard. He'll be looking for number 14. Syndergaard career in 7 starts, though, just 2-3. With a good ERA, 3-2. 3.02 against the Nats. We'll get you going with Nats Extra, 6:30 tomorrow night. So Reynaldo Lopez, 19 pitches, 9 strikes. Last inning, there's Thor. Got a couple of quick outs.
Boy, between Syndergaard, Gazelman, and DeGrom, they lead the league in hair, that staff. See those two guys sit next to each other? Jacob DeGrom in there.
You are correct.
Should go with some sort of 80s hairband nickname for the rotation. Quiet Riot, Motley Crue, something like that.
Fastball away. He showed him one on 0-2. Kelly Johnson 0 for 3 tonight. Off speed.
Dusty probably be pumped if Ronaldo finished this game for him.
That would be very nice.
You get a save, right?
3 innings. Kelly Johnson reaching out, trying to pull that ball. Ryan Zimmerman takes care of it. First out, 8th inning. Right now, Trevor Gott is the pitcher of record because he came in after Matt Latos, and he got 2 hitters. Not like he got a couple of out, a couple of hits or whatever. So, the official score would probably go with Gott. He has the option to go with anybody who follows, but I think if Reynaldo got a 3-inning deal, he'd give him the save. It's kind of one of those gray matter, gray areas there, where the score can decide. But more often than not, he'll go with the first guy unless he gets knocked around. And Trevor, it would be his first victory as a Nat, but he already had 4 in the big leagues. So we'll see how it all goes. Conversations we don't have very often.
Yeah.
8-1 ball game when you're playing the Mets. Mercedes-Benz will track this one a beauty.
Good feel for the changeup right now.
That was nasty. Into the mitt, foul tip, strike 2. And this one high in the air, right center. Bryce there if needed. Turner takes it. 2 outs. Travis d'Arnaud is next. All right, 2 outs, bases empty again. Let's see how Reynaldo can do, trying to close out the inning.
See that guy in the foul ball back there? He freaked out. He said that was coming right at my head.
If you don't sit back there every night, it's hard not to flinch.
It is. I mean, you have to flinch.
I mean, you're what? 30, maybe 40 feet behind the hitter. And no flinch there. Lopez grabs it, fires to Zimmerman, and Reynaldo has 6 outs here to get the Nats through the 7th and the 8th. Brought to you by Airlines for America, where airplanes land, opportunity takes off. To the bottom of the 8th. Top of the order for Washington, Turner, Worth, and Murphy. Looks like another inning of work for Logan Verrett. Rick Shue with all the info and the video to back it up. And the numbers. Turner 0 for 1 against Verrett. And he turns on that one quickly, way foul. Crowd of 22,832 announced tonight. A lot of excitement early. 6 runs on 5 hits in the first 2 innings. Bunch of walks. Strike 2 to Trey Turner. .26-year-old right-hander from Corpus Christi, Texas. Logan Verrett pitched at Baylor. Third rounder by the Mets 5 years ago. Three and 2. Trey doesn't walk a whole lot, 8 times this season. 234 official at bats. Sounded like he broke his bat on another line drive where the first one went.
Go get a new one, pick a winner.
Talked about the Marlins earlier, fighting for their lives in the wild card race. They were down 7-0 at Atlanta tonight. It's now the 7th inning, and it's Braves 8, Marlins 7. St. Louis trailing, New York behind. They could move a little closer. There they are, 5 back. Pirates 6 back, but they're getting hammered at Philly tonight.
Miami would have to win almost every game to jump back in it.
Yep. How about another busted bat? And this one, as you say, will
die a hero.
He's 2 for 5. Expensive at bat, but Trey Turner will take it.
He ain't paying for those bats. The ball club pays for them.
Okay, expensive for them.
They're about $100 each, too, maybe more. Wally will text me here in a second.
Wow.
The maple bats now, they're a little more expensive than the ash used to be. See the inside out swing, bring that all the way back to Brandon Nimmo in center. So just another lousy 2-hit game for Trey Turner.
Yeah. 343 batting average, will go up a couple of points. On base percentage flirting with 370 now. Worth has been on twice. Walk, single, steal, 2 runs.
If I had to pay for my bats, I would have been playing for free.
Busted a few?
Like 4 and at bat.
Was Maple just coming in when you were finishing up?
Oh, yeah. It was a big difference, too. Harder bats, they didn't splinter. I felt like the ball came off a little hotter.
Worth to short. Reynolds, Johnson, and Loney, 6-4-3. The #1 app for live baseball is MLB.com At Bat. Enjoy game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. So put it on your favorite device. MLB.com At Bat. Track everything Daniel Murphy's doing from now and the rest of the way. Murphy 2 for 4, 54th multi-hit game of the year. Four for 6 against Logan Verrett.
So magic number goes to 9 if they hold on here tonight.
That it would.
Well, we're getting single digits. This is getting good now.
The lowest it could be by the end of this series would be 5.
Is there any way they can clinch it home?
It'd have to be a really bad week and a half.
I just think it'd be great for Nats fans to see it again. They saw it in 12, didn't see it in 14. It was such a sight here to see Michael Morse run around spraying beer on fans. I just wish they could do it here.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see the celebration itself, and if it's crazy or they just all business-like.
Yeah. At home in 12, in Atlanta in 14.
I think you go crazy. Division championships don't come around very often.
Murphy drills one to the scoreboard. Third hit of the night. It makes a right turn, and he pulls into second base. So he adds 2 more doubles and extra base hits onto his totals tonight. A 3-hit night. So there's double number 44, extra base hit number 74.
He's torturing the Mets.
Yeah.
Absolutely torturing his old ball club. Third hit of the night, second double, another 3 for Daniel Murphy. Hit number 178 on the year. So 22 hits shy of 200. I think he can do it.
Another pitching change. Terry Collins trying to keep this a 7-1 game, a 7-run game in the 8th. So that batting average, I mean, he is not backing into anything. His batting average will be approaching the 348 to 350 level here.
Still critiquing his own swing after a 3-hit night. Josh Edgen takes him out for the Mets. Fastball slider. He'll cut the fastball. A changeup to go with it. 91-mile-an-hour heater. 8th game. ERA at 7.71. And when you're having a year like Daniel Murphy's having, you get the righty. And then Bryce Harper gets the lefty.
Wilmer Defoe pinch running for Murphy, and most probably taking over at second base in the 9th.
15th game that Daniel Murphy's had 3 hits or more this year.
That's amazing. So Bryce career against Edgin, 2 for 9 with a homer, 2 RBIs. Eight runs on 10 hits. Pretty good pitch to the outside edge. Counts even, 1-1. Late break on that one. So Bryce on base 3 times tonight. A walk for RBI number 80. 101 walks on the year. 100 strikeouts. Foul tip, and that's it for the Nats in the 8th. Pretty good offensive night for the ball club through 8. 3 outs to get. Thinking the Nats have enough runs. 3 outs to get. Reynaldo Lopez will still be out there. Johnny Holiday, Ray Knight in the yard tonight. It's our Nats Extra postgame show presented by W.B. Mason. So Reynaldo Lopez, 34 pitches, 18 strikes, has a chance for a 3-inning save here. Nats will get Bryce Harper and Jason Worth a little time off here. Brian Goodwin is in left field for Jason. And then in right, Michael A. Taylor. There he is. James Loney, Ty Kelly, and Brandon Nimmo for the Mets in the top of the 9th. No one throwing in the Nationals bullpen, so Dusty telling Reynaldo, this is yours. Get it done.
Somebody asking me on Twitter why Trey Turner isn't in the major league leaders for batting average. And you have to have 3.1 at-bats per every game the team has played on the schedule to be able to qualify. Just in case you're wondering. A lot of people don't know that. I didn't really even know that. I knew it was something like that. You figured it out?
Well, I'm kind of looking at how many at-bats that would be. Oh, Rendon to his left, pops up and throws in an 8-1 game. Fantastic. Anthony Rendon.
A standing ovation from Ben Revere, appreciating the effort up by 7. Anthony Rendon plays the same way regardless of the score. But what a play, third base. You're not really expecting this, but a step and a dive, got a big hop, gets up and throws out James Loney. Add that to the highlight reel, and there's many great plays on it this year for Anthony Rendon. So you need what, 499 at-bats to qualify right now?
162 times 3.1. So, yeah, they don't give out batting championships unless you're pretty much around for the whole season. And who knows for Trey next year. Shortstop Danny Espinosa throws out Ty Kelly. Now the Nats are 1 out away from being 28 games over 500. 28. And this would be a 10-game lead over the Mets. Brandon Nimmo for New York. This kid had a heck of a season at Vegas, hit .352. He finished 1 point behind TJ Rivera, who the Mets just called up. They were the 2 top hitters in the Pacific Coast League. And a ball drilled to Espinosa. Game over just like that. And if you can get a save in an 8-1 ball game, that's how it happens.
Magic number's 9. Single digits. It's happening again, folks. 9 is the magic number. 9.
NYNE. There's number 7. He got it off to a good start. And number 20 didn't do bad either.